So some more Modern Warfare 2 rumors have popped up, or rather I guess we can call them actual leaks because that's what they are. And while we've touched on some stuff in the past from people who have actually played the game already, today's expansion on that discussion comes with a bit more information from those that have played it and from those very close to those that have. Today, we're going to be examining a bit more of what we've heard and some of the questions that I've seen come up recently in regards to some of the maybe lesser discussed topics perhaps. As we go along, drop your thoughts below. Are you looking forward to any of these details discussed here? Are you happy that we'll see some of these adjustments to the gameplay loop? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2. And additionally, make sure to check out my friends over at GamerAdvantage right now for a rare 20% off your entire order discount for the best blue light glasses on the market, but more on them in a bit. For now, let's take a look at some of the new multiplayer details that were leaked. For this, I want to start out with one that is a bit newer than anything else, but let's start out with the topic of maps and what to expect at launch. This segment of information comes from former COD Pro, now streamer and show host Zuma, who on one of his recent broadcasts was talking to chat about his experience with Modern Warfare 2 and what he's seen and heard, stating, "The game seems pretty promising. From what I've heard, people are talking the next game up and that they enjoyed it in the maps that they played. I think that the pro players played 4 maps, there's 16 maps total, they played 4 maps, and I think that 2 of the 4 they loved and they really thought were good." And then from there, he went on to say that those opinions were only based on the sort of fundamental level here, just that playtime that they had. But that checks out because every early play session that we get as creators and press, it's usually about 4 maps or so. So that checks out. I'd imagine that what the pros got to play in those play sessions kind of looked like what we got back during the Modern Warfare 2019 pre-reveal. That was something that we couldn't talk about until the multiplayer reveal in August of 2019, but back in April or May, whenever it was, like a week or 2 before the reveal of the game itself, they showed us all about the game, what to expect, some tech breakdowns, basically what we talked about in the Modern Warfare 2 reveal here in June, but we learned that in person as opposed to Zoom for Modern Warfare 2019, pre-COVID. But after that though, again in 2019, not for Modern Warfare 2, they let us play a bit of the game after that presentation, to which we probably had a total of like an hour and a half, 2 hours of game time tops, where if my memory serves me correctly, we played Azir Cave day and night showing off the NVG playlist. We played some gunfight, and I want to say we played like Gun Run or Cyber Attack or something like that, but the fundamental basis of not playing a lot and then only playing about 4 maps total, that checks out with everything that IW's done in the past for previews and also what happens at most reveal events. But to break things down a little further, listen, I know competitive players have wildly different hopes for gameplay than the average public match player, but if they loved 2 of 4 maps that they played, I'll take that as a win. And I take that as a win because nothing against the collective, but I swear that I don't remember hearing the group of pros that play the game early liking maps or even the game overall since like 2015 and Black Ops 3. So that's the last time I remember hearing any genuine, yeah, this looks pretty good, we had a good time. It's not one of those memes where pro says this year will be the best COD ever. Zuma's a straight shooter who tells it like it is and would relay those negative feelings if that's what he had heard so far. So at least I'm optimistic in what we see on offer there. But what I'm more intrigued by is the topic of 16 maps at launch, because that's a solid number. We've touched on it before, but that would be matching the second most at launch that we'd see if that actually holds true. The most at launch came in Modern Warfare of 2019 with 20, though there's kind of an asterisk here at that one. You end up having gunfight and ground war maps mixed in with that, so the 6v6 offering isn't a total of 20, but it ended up having 20 total maps across the entire experience. Then in second, it's a multi-way tie between COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, and surprisingly, Vanguard this year with 16 maps. Now, afterwards, well, that's an entirely different story. So if we have 16 maps at launch, that's a healthy number of them for Modern Warfare 2, but we also have to acknowledge that we don't have the knowledge of if that will exclude or include the maps if there's, say, smaller maps built for knockout specifically, or the battle maps, as they're called, for the ground war style maps, that larger scale combat. We don't know if that adds to or subtracts from that 16 total when we think about 6v6 overall. Officially speaking, we've seen confirmed a handful of maps already. Grand Prix, Museum, and Farm 18 on the 6v6 side, which seems like Museum is actually going to be one of those main maps since that was leaked from the LA Rams playthrough this past week. And then on the larger side of things, the battle maps that we learned about were Said and Sarif Bay. So that accounts for at least 3, potentially 5 maps here of those 16, but we just don't quite know yet. To elaborate a little further, we do know of a lot more, but also we don't know how many will be coming at launch in DLC seasons or are just tested or cut maps altogether, because we did recently see a leak from the game files of Warzone Mobile that listed the following maps: Action Park, Agent Perf, Ancient, Backstab, Cathedral, Climb, Cruise, Davos, Dogtown, Esports Gym, Exhume, Fallout, Favela, Floating Bay, Grand Prix, Kill House, Luxury, Mountain Town, Narcos, Oilfield, Ridge, Royce Test 04, Runner, Saba, Salvage, Tokyo, Trade, and Yellow Castle. Now, taking out the obvious test map, that's 27 maps that were found in the game file, so there's definitely wiggle room to work with. That could mean that we have additional ones at launch, but it also could not. I mean, we do see pre-launch that there are DLC seasons planned out. COD development is about like 3 to 4 months ahead of time here, so that's why we see things added in over time for seasons upcoming in the game files. So it's possible some of those are Season 1, Season 2 maps. It's possible some of those may be larger size battle maps like we saw with sort of Verdansk points of interest that do end up coming over to Warzone 2. We'll have to see. But given that Gunfight is coming later post-launch, one thing that I kind of think when we talk about this is that maybe Knockout doesn't have specific maps here for that. Maybe that just utilized the 6v6 maps. But 16 maps, I can get behind that. I just kind of hope that some of them are at least memorable and play well. Vanguard had 16 maps, but none of them really ever wowed me. And also, on the topic of Vanguard, I really do hope that they have better post-launch support as opposed to Vanguard. The whole 1 map every month and 2 total a season, that's not going to cut it, man. Post-launch for Vanguard has been abysmal in my opinion. But next, I want to move on to some discussion of slide canceling and a possible removal of it. But before we do, let's talk about GamerAdvantage here real quick. So I'm sure that you guys all know my spiel on GamerAdvantage. They're the best blue light glasses on the market. This, I swear by. I've been working with them and the team for 1.5 years now at this point, and that entire time, not a single doubt in my mind. No second guesses whatsoever. And as someone who's working at my PC for 10 plus hours every day, most days, blue light is a pain to have to deal with long term, and they've helped me out so much. They have the most comfortable, durable, and lightweight frames, and have a clinically proven track record that's bar none. Right now, for COD Champs and Playoff Weekend, there's a 20% off discount going on, 10% off site-wide, but if you use my code ESPRESSO, you get an additional 10% off as well. This does not happen often, so if you guys are interested, now's the time to pull that trigger and invest in your long-term vision health. But it doesn't stop there. For COD Champs, each partner is tied to a specific team. The team that I got assigned to is the Los Angeles Thieves, so if the LA Thieves win COD Champs, everyone who uses code ESPRESSO this weekend will also get a $50 gift card on top of their order. So head over to their website, check out the science, pick up a pair for yourself, and root on the LA Thieves to win champs, because who doesn't love free stuff on top of investing in your vision health? Anyways, link in the description below, and remember to use code ESPRESSO if you pick anything up, but back to it. Slide canceling, I saw this comment as of recently in yesterday's video and elsewhere as well, but Zuma expanded on some information that we had heard before. Beforehand, we had talked about how Swag, streamer and content creator who played the game at Infinity Ward, the in-person event here, as opposed to where myself and plenty others were just in a Zoom call, he ended up actually playing the game, and he spilled a little bit of the beans earlier on, stating that I've played Modern Warfare 2, it played just how Modern Warfare 2019 played, the feel of it, following up that statement by saying, if you got the dolphin dive now, you have that aspect of the game, and when asked about slide canceling, he goes, it's not how you think it is. Now, that's been the baseline for the discussion recently of, okay, well, maybe slide canceling isn't returning, at least in the capacity that we have it now, if not at all. But this was a few weeks back at this point, and in Zuma's recent broadcast, the same one that we just pulled the information of the maps on, he also mentioned the movement in Modern Warfare 2, stating you can't really slide cancel into fights anymore. There's not going to be those quick slides into quick aim type of gunfights. Like, you can slide, but it's almost like the whole slide canceling and the whole people doing it over and over again is just not going to work in this game. It seemed like every pro who was trying to come around a corner sliding, you're going to see people doing long slides, because if you do a long slide, you might be able to do something. People might be able to figure out a way to abuse the mechanic, but listen, in terms of what I've seen so far, sliding into gunfights is probably not your best bet, just like it wasn't your best bet in Ghosts. Nobody really slide canceled in Ghosts because if you slid into a gunfight, you got smoked. You just ran into an out trigger and couldn't get your gun up. When you slide cancel in the new game, your gun stays down, so there's a delay to get your gun back up. So that's actually really interesting to hear to me, because it almost sounds like it's not in there at all, which I'll absolutely play and adapt to any sort of mechanic here at that point, but it seems like they may actually be tackling it this time around with Modern Warfare 2, and that's one thing that's persisted because of Warzone, the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, but it was never really meant to be a thing. Any developer you'll talk to, they'll say that they don't like slide canceling because it is abusing a broken mechanic. It was never built to be used as an advantage, but instead it breaks cameras. It's a sort of feature that was unintended. Though I think that this will absolutely change the dynamic for what we see in gameplay a ton, because if you look at any social clips, anything, your viral TikToks, your top streamers, all that, they all use slide canceling to their advantage, perhaps to a degree that may sicken some people, but anyways, it'll be a big system shock to go from what we have in Modern Warfare 2019 and that Warzone, what may be branded as Warzone Legacy experience, and then into Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 not having that happen. So I'm sure that something will come up where somebody finds a way to break the mechanic. That happens every single year, but at least as intended, it doesn't seem like slide canceling will be returning in the capacity that we know it right now, if at all. So that said, some big changes here to the gameplay overall for Modern Warfare 2 and what we may be able to expect, plus also a decent bit on offer, it seems like, for the launch of the game. But that said, that is what we're going to call it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Wanted to fill you guys in here on these new developments to the discussions at hand and some new stuff as well. So let me know your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2 and anything COD related. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Honest Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.